Another strategy to solve quadratic equations is completing the square. To complete the square, we're going to use our first example. It tells us that to complete the square, we must first make sure that our a is 1. Well, we can see it's not, so we can simply divide all of these terms by 4, and then we will have our a will be 1. Okay, the second part says if there is a constant on the left side and we have a -8, then we need to move it to the right side. So we're going to add 8, and we're going to have a squared minus 2a is equal to positive 8. The next step is we need to make some space, because what we're trying to do is make a perfect trinomial, so we need some space right here. So we're just going to prepare ourselves by leaving a gap open to put in a term, and equals 8. So that's all I did. So far we have our a is 1, our constant is on the right side, and we have left space to create our perfect trinomial. So let's put up what we had, and we had a squared, let me turn back real quick, minus 2a equals 8. Make that look more like a 2. Okay, now to get this perfect trinomial, all we have to do is the b term, we take half of the b term and then we square it. So that is going to give us, so half of -2 is -1, and it really doesn't matter if it's negative or positive, because now you're going to square it. So we're going to square -1, and that gives us positive 1. Equals 8. And then once I added the 1 to the left to keep our equation balanced, we add 1 to the right. So really we have a squared minus 2a plus 1 equals 9. Now we're going to factor the perfect square trinomial on the left side. So a squared minus 2a plus 1. To factor that, we take the square root of the first term, the square root of the last term, and then whatever this is, if it's minus, it's minus, if it's positive, it's positive, and then we squared it, so we made a perfect trinomial, and now set equal to 9. Now that we have a perfect square on the left, we can take the square root of both sides and solve. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides, and that gives me a minus 1 is equal to positive and -3. We're going to set each of these up equal to the positive 3, and then set it up to -3 and solve. So a equals 4 and a equals -2. Those are our two roots. So let's try one more example if you need another one. So first we see that our a is 1, so we're good, but now we need this -63. We're going to move it over. P squared plus 2p. I'm going to go ahead and leave space here. That gives me 63. I am going to take half of my b, half of b, and square it. Half of 2 is 1, squared is 1. I add 1 to the left, I had to add 1 to the right, so that gives me 64. Now we're going to make out of our perfect trinomial, we're going to factor the p and the 1, and this is positive, so it's positive. And guys, if you were to FOIL out p plus 1 times p plus 1, you would get back this. We're going to take the square root of, a little ugly there, both sides, so we get p plus 1 equals 8, and p plus 1 equals -8. We're going to solve, and our two roots, we subtract 1 is 7. We subtract 1 from -8, that gives us -9. So there you go, completing the square to find your solution to your quadratic.